Good afternoon, everyone. It's Tuesday, so you know what that means. In a few moments here, you're going to have your next quiz. Okay, but as we always do, before that, we're going to do a few minutes of a refresher to remind ourselves of the different stuff from last week. Okay, and again, the crux of last week was trying to identify the parts of a parabola and find a quick way to graph a parabola. Okay. So first we're just going to review the terminology. So we're just going to go down the list of words here. So first question is, where would I find the vertex? Okay. And of course that would be right here, right? The vertex is kind of the highest or lowest point, right, where it turns around. Okay, that's where it is, that point right there. Okay, and actually we could even name it, right? It'd be -1 and 5. So the point for this vertex is -1 and -5. Okay. The next term, okay, is the axis of symmetry. Okay, so what is that? That is the line that divides the parabola in half, right? It's the same on both sides. Okay, and the way we reference this is with its position, the x-coordinate, right here. So this is passing through -1, so my axis of symmetry is x equals -1. Okay, next we'll do optimal value, okay, which is also connected to the vertex, okay, just like the axis is. Optimal value is the highest or lowest point, depending which way it's facing. So again, this parabola doesn't go any lower than -5, so the optimal value is -5, right? There is no graph underneath that point. All right, next thing, what are the zeros of my parabola? Okay, the zeros are where it crosses the x-axis. Okay, so I have one here, and I have one here. Okay, so in just terms of the number, right, they're a little bit, they're not right on the grid line. So maybe we'll say this is about -2.2 and 0.2. Okay, a little less than -2 and a little more than 0. Okay, what's the step pattern? Okay, step pattern is a rule that helps us to graph. It's kind of like slope. It tells you when I go over 1, right, how much do I go up? So this one, the first time, I go up 3. Okay, when I go over 1, how much do I go up to get to the next point? Well, I have to go all the way up here. Pardon my not so straight line. Okay, and that's 9. So the step pattern that I can see so far is 3, and then 9, and so on. Okay, last but not least, the y-intercept. Okay, that is the point where it crosses the y-axis. Okay, that's right here. So that would be at -2. That is my y-intercept. Okay, so that's all the terminology that we reviewed last week. So part of your quiz is labeling the terminology there. Okay, the other part we focused on was developing the graph and techniques for graphing. So here's an equation, and we'll just review how to graph it. Okay, so first, what are the key pieces of information that I can pull out of this equation? Okay, a little louder. I know you want to say it. Okay, one of the key things is the vertex. Okay, again, this is called vertex form, so that's a very important part. Okay, where do I get that from? It comes from here and here. Okay, and it's x and y from left to right. And just remembering, it kind of does the opposite of what's in the brackets. So that says -6, so it's actually at +6. Okay, and the +4 on the outside, it does what you think it does. So we have 4. So my vertex is 6 and 4. So to start my graph, I'll go over to 6 and up to 4. And that's my starting point. Okay, the other key piece of information to pull out of here comes here. Okay, actually, we get two things from here. 1, okay, the fact that it's negative means that it opens which direction? Yes, okay, it opens down because it starts with a negative. Okay, if it was positive out front, it would be opening up. Okay, and then what does the 2 do for me? Well, the 2 helps with the step pattern. Okay, so recall from last week, right, the basic step is always 1 and 3 and 5. That was for a plane parabola, just x squared. Okay, because I have the negative 2 in front, I multiply all of these things by negative 2. Okay, so 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. Okay, so this is the step pattern of my parabola. Okay, and how that helps me graph is I go back to the vertex I already had, and it means I go over 1 and down 2. I go over 1 and down 6. I go over 1 and down 10, which is off the graph, but maybe somewhere down here. Okay, over 1, down 2, over 1, down 6, over 1, down 10. Okay, so I have my points, and that allows me to graph the parabola. Okay, and forgive me here, I will try to graph it with my mouse here on the computer, but it's not going to go the greatest. That wasn't too bad. Okay, so there's the graph. Okay. The last thing then is going in the other direction. Okay, if I give you a graph, what's the equation? Okay, but we know what the 2 key pieces of information are, right? I need to know what my vertex is. Okay, and we had this graph up earlier. Okay, my vertex is down here, so it's negative 1 and negative 5. Okay, the other thing I need to know is my step pattern, right? How is this thing increasing? And again, we saw this on the first page. When I went over 1, I ended up going up 3 spots there. So my step pattern is 3, and I think it was 9, and so on. That was the step pattern we had on the first page. Okay, so what's my equation? Well, it's y equals, okay, the first number in my step, that must be my multiplier, so it's 3. And then my vertex, okay, inside the brackets it does the opposite, so it's at minus 1 here, so I'm going to write plus 1 in here. Okay, and then on the outside it's minus 5, that stays the way it is. Okay, and don't forget the squared on the bracket, that's really important. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Okay, there's the terminology, so labeling the graph. Okay, there is graphing from the equation, and then the reverse of that, creating the equation if I can see the graph. And you're ready to go. Okay, so we'll put away our things, and we'll get started on the quiz, and you have the rest of the period to finish that up. Thanks for watching.